live. I was sharing the link to our WhatsApp community so that they can all join us. Today, we are talking about limiting parents' money. So you are about to restructure your parenting when it comes to your child's academic performance. We all want our children to do well in school. That is a simple fact. But the matter is, it's not like our children don't want to do well. It's just that some of the things we actually do, we don't realize how they sabotage our children, how they actually make them struggle instead of do well. I remember back then growing up, the mindset was always, study medicine for our children. We know that actually made a lot of parents push their children into taking science courses. Children will have to be in science class. I think from SS1, children will have to be in science class. Even when those children were clearly struggling academically, they will be in science class because their parents just wanted them to study medicine. Now, I understand we want our children, why parents wanted their children to study medicine in those days. They were trying to look for opportunities for their children. No parent actually want a child who will not do well in life. No parent wants that. So we actually want our children to do well, to excel, to grow. We want them to get to an extent they are comfortable. Now, whether we like it or not, I always say schooling, going to school, is for academic placement. Going to school is for economic placement, economic opportunity, for economic importance. So back then, parents will say, okay, when you go to school, doctors, it's easy for them to get jobs. It is they are successful people, they are comfortable economically, it's easy. So every parent wanted their children actually to study medicine, even when those were clearly struggling. They wanted them to study medicine. They still pushed them to science class. Now, the narrative has changed. The mindset, that particular mindset actually has changed. Now, parents, we've come to realize that, it's not about medicine. There are people who are doing way better than people who actually studied medicine. We look at Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, for example. She actually was studying medicine in UNN before she got a scholarship to Harvard or so to study, I think, literature in English or something like that. Today, she is an international figure. If she had studied medicine, would she have what she has today? Well, she's a very strong person. So she's a very strong person. She probably still would have had the kind of life she's having today because she has today, because she's a very strong person. We're going to talk about personality another time, how it comes in the way of our children's success and all of that. So today is all about those mindsets you have as a parent that are actually sabotaging your child. You want them, your daily intentions. We all want well for our children. So there are some things you do because of your mindset you have. They are not helping your children. They are actually sabotaging them. That is what we are looking at today. So if you don't have your writing materials, go get them. Get your a glass of water. Get your, someone said hi, thank you for joining. Please copy the link of this video and share. Tell parents that school is about to resume. We need to be intentional about our children. We want them to succeed. You don't want at the end of the day, when is the prize giving day? We start feeling, my child wasn't given the prize, my child didn't confess and all of that. We don't want that. We want to put in the work now. Or when is the exam time, we start telling them, go and read. We don't want that. So what we want is actually to put in the work now. So before school even starts, put in the work. So that is what we are doing. So please, what you want to do is just copy the link of this video, share it, invite parents, your children's PTA, your, what is it called again, your church or your mosque WhatsApp group, your old school alumni WhatsApp group. Every WhatsApp group you join, you know that parents are going to appreciate this message, or parents have young children, drop it there. Let them know that there is something happening here. So this is a visionary Parents with Enemy Orebo, and it is brought to you by the Visionary Parents Academy, an academy where parents get empowered daily. They get skilled up daily. They get empowered. They get informed, given skills and the confidence to raise the children they actually have. It's an academy you want to belong to. We'll talk about this shortly. So let's go. I don't want us to stay too long, so I'll just go right into it now. Limiting mindset that make your child struggle in school. Let me start with one. Number one is, my child would understand if I just push harder. Very many times we think, children are lazy. That is why they are not doing well in school. So instead of also understand their motivation and motivate them, we are pressuring them. That pressure frustrates them. That pressure frustrates you as a parent. That is number one. Oh, if I push harder, if I do the yelling, if I do the nagging, if I use discipline or any form of thing, if I just do something, they are going to learn it. Now, we do not realize. Now, I remember a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago, there was a parent in the Visionary Academy that a parent of toddlers, she actually shared her testimony. So what happened was, we had done about learning, helping your child excel in school and all of that. Like we are currently doing in the Visionary Parent Academy is a challenge, 30 days challenge. Every day you get one tool that you are going to use. And we started today. So, and our tool for today is a mindset. We are looking at the mindset, your mindset as a parent, the mindset that the mindset nurtured in you, the atmosphere you had growing up, would have influenced your mindset when it comes to your child's academics, your child's success. So let me go back to this parent. So what happened was, so this parent, we're just having we're having a course on helping our children do better in school, and this parent attended the course. So after that, she went home and she decided to try something. Coincidentally, I think that day or so, her kids came back from school and she was trying to help them with their homework and all of that. But that particular day, because our class was still ongoing, she was just in the spirit. So she decided to say, okay, since they were not cooperating, let her try something else. She decided that, okay, she will bathe them, she will feed them, and then after that, they will come back to the homework. Guess what? By the time she bathed them and she fed them, kids, before she knew what was happening, within a space of 5 minutes, bathe, eat, let me come back, and they had slept. Which simply means that these children were tired. They were tired and they were feeling sleepy. But their mom, she didn't realize it. What she would have done, her old self would have been to yell, would have been to fuss, would have been to nag, would have been to smack, and all of that. Now, because she knew better, she was able to just do something better, and that was where it dawned on her that, what? These children, they were not being lazy. They were not being stubborn or necessarily uncooperative. It's actually because they were tired. So many times, there's a mindset that if we push these children, they are going to do better. If we push them, they will do better. Now, we don't realize that sometimes we push them when what they need is not to be pushed. We just need to pause and understand what is going on. But we don't do that. We push them. Now, that's mindset number one. If you are following, just any mindset you get, put it there. Any mindset that resonates with you, put it there. And also, if you want your child to excel in school, I want my child to do better in school, put it there. I want my child to do better in school. Write it in the comment section. I want my child to do better in school. And any mindset that resonates with you, please write it there. I'm taking this fast because it's going to be a long one, though I don't want it to be too long. So the next mindset is labeling. We call children label because they are struggling. When you have it, you call children lazy because they are struggling. It's just like with the mindset I shared a while ago. Once a child is struggling, we think the child is not putting in their best. We just thank you so much. Yes, and your child will succeed in school. Amen. Once a child is struggling in school, we just conclude that they are lazy. Especially if you don't have other children their age in the same class, we just conclude that the child is lazy. That is why they are struggling. Now, when you have the mindset that the child is lazy, you are going to attend to your child from that place of he is lazy. There is something I always say to parents that we need to understand the root cause of everything, because every behavior is actually a communication. Our children are telling us, oh, I'm going through this, see what is happening. And sometimes we do not we do not know. Every behavior is a communication. So when children are struggling in school, what we hear, we don't listen to understand. We just assume. And there's a saying that assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. We assume. So when children are struggling, we just assume that these children are lazy. The child is lazy. So when the child is lazy, we begin to push, like the first point I made. We begin to push. And it may not actually be that the child is lazy. There are so many possibilities, so many reasons that will make a child struggle in school. On Sunday, There's a teen in my school, in my church rather. I teach teenagers in my church, by the way. So there's a teenager in my church that she was caught one time like that, kissing a boy, in church, almost in a public place. And you know how it can be. I live in a suburb, and you know how that kind of case can be. It was dramatic, and everybody was like, so on Sunday in church, she came to me and we got talking. She's had series of issues that will make you just brand her, oh, a bad child or a spoiled child, or picking where one spoil will spoil. No, we kept talking about it, failing in class, something you call a lot of things. So when I looked at the whole thing, when I asked her questions, I investigated, I realized that there was a yearning in her that the home was not giving. There was a yearning in her, a vacuum in her, that she was just looking for ways to fill it by herself. So unfortunately, her parents don't know, and they are not intentional, and they are not open to learning. She may go and make decisions, she'll make choices, she'll make poor choices that will sabotage her. The very thing the parents are don't want to happen to her. The very thing they don't want to happen to her may now end up happening to her, not because of anything, but because she wasn't understood. What she was trying to communicate, nobody listened to understand. Everybody just assumed and got conclusive. That is what happens to children. Sometimes when they struggle in school, we just conclude, oh, they are lazy. Even teachers, they do this ignorantly. They want to say, you have 10 children in the class, 5 of them are getting it, the other 5 they are lazy. Let's say 8 of them are getting it, one other child that is not getting it is lazy. We just conclude. We don't pause to think, okay, what is this child trying to communicate? What may be the reason this child is struggling? There are very many reasons children may actually struggle, and we don't look at them. They have emotional issues. We have sometimes the way you are teaching as a child, the way you are teaching as a teacher may not, the child may not really be grabbing it. Maybe the way you are teaching it doesn't go well with the child. Now, when it comes to learning styles, one of the issues people have is that because you can teach certain things, children understand, so you just use that pattern to teach everything. No, there are things that naturally resonate with someone. So no matter how you teach it, it's easy. Or there are things that already have the foundation. So no matter how you are teaching it, it becomes easy. But when it's not easy, then you have to go to your toolbox and bring out that child learning style to begin to see how you can break it down. Luckily for us, in the Visionary Parent Academy this month, we are doing all about that. It's all about how to help our children, how to grow their brilliance, how to help them do well in school and beyond. Because like I always say, it's not just about doing well in school, it's about putting in the right effort that will translate into real life. So that is what we are doing. We're having a challenge, 30 days challenge, which started yesterday. So if you still want to join, you can still join us today. You can still join us today because we just started yesterday, and today we started it fully. Today we got our first task to do, and which is the foundational task. It's just about checking our mindset, rewiring our mindset, and all of that. So we are going to, tomorrow we are entering into it fully. So if you are not in the Visionary Parent Academy, you want to be part of this challenge, please, you can reach out. 15,000 naira only you become part of this challenge. Okay, so I just talked about the second mindset is, if my child struggles, it means my child is lazy. We have that mindset. The third mindset is, children must only read textbooks. Storybooks are waste of time. This is you hear parents say things like, my kids don't like to read. My kids don't like to read. And I ask parents, dear parents, your kids don't like to read. How many books do you buy for your kids? They will tell me something like, they go to school, we buy the textbooks. They have their textbooks from school. That is why. So because they have textbooks from school, that is all the child or the children are expected to read every single day. So if the children are not reading school textbook, they are not doing this. Is a sin. They can't read other books. So parents will not even bother to buy other books. They just feel textbooks are enough. It becomes boring. It becomes monotonous. your children now. And guess what? Who other books that your children will read may even go a long way to help them more than textbooks. To help them more than textbooks. There are so many other resources children can read, so many that will help them in school, not just textbooks. So as a parent, one of the things you want to do is you want to deliberately shop for books that are not necessarily academic books. They are going to help your child. They are going to help them. Look for their area where they are struggling, their area of weaknesses. Get other books that can help them. It can be story books that will help them. It can be self-help books that will help them. Other books that will help them. So parents just believe, oh, it has to be textbooks. So all they buy for their children is textbooks. So Mondays to Friday, January to December, you ask them. They complain, my children don't like to read. You ask them, what books are your children reading? And they say it's children textbooks. You expect them to open their textbook morning, afternoon, night, evening, every single day. Nah. It doesn't work like that. So get other books for them to read. Now, one other mindset parents have again is that if the child is not reading every single time of the day, the child is not reading. So you pressure the child. So at the end of the day, the child, instead of the child to be interested in reading, the child will find reading fun. They find reading as punishment. They find reading as killjoy. They find reading annoying. So that mindset, they bring it to their academics and they struggle. Like I was talking about getting other books. Other books, you open their mind. They will see a lot of things, a lot of possibilities, and other books will inspire them to read their books, to dig deeper. Now imagine a child maybe in a science class, for example, they have their normal physics, biology, chemistry books. Now imagine if they have another book that is maybe a storyline that kind of refers to a particular topic. Let me give you an example. Maybe they have a storybook that just refers to photosynthesis, for example, and the child will remember, I have photosynthesis in my biology. Let me go and see what they mean by that. That can even encourage them to read. That can even open their brains, open their minds to read more and to help them understand it more. Now it is why one of the challenges, one of the tools we are going to use in our challenge is giving our children comprehension passages. And when we are giving comprehension passages, we just don't give random ones. You create your comprehension passage. So if you are taking the challenge, when we get to that point, I'll teach you how to do that. You create comprehension passage that will not only help your children grow in their English, will help in other subjects. They are not just like recently, yesterday or so, I created one for my son. Okay, not less than the other day. It was on Clifford's Constitution. Remember Clifford's Constitution of 1922 when we studied in government, because I realized that they are getting there. So I created one on Clifford's Constitution and I gave it to him. And guess what? The key points in that constitution, he has known it. He has known the dates, the year rather. He has known Clifford's full name. He has known the benefits of the Constitution. He has known the weakness of the Constitution. And if I'm to follow that pace, the next time that he's going to learn the other Constitution that succeeded Clifford's Constitution, the same way happens. So your child is in science. You want to also do something like that. If you register for this challenge, you are going to get how to do this and how to do it in the way that to empower your child. No matter as long as your child is school age child, your child is going to be doing it. Your child is going to benefit from it. So you are going to it's 15,000 naira for the entire month. The entire month you will be in the academy for the whole month. So whatever we are doing in the academy will be part of it. Whatever we enjoy in the academy will be part of it. So that is that about okay, I was talking about other books. I've talked about that. Now I was talking about your child must read textbooks. I've talked about your child must read textbooks. The other one I was talking about, if your child is not reading 24 hours. So I remember back then when my dad would go out and would come back and you're not reading, it's a problem. Your child must read 24 hours. you must go and come back and meet them reading. So when you are always doing that, someone said, we recently detected a security breach in your system. The issue has been contained and enhanced measure in place. We will end life in 15 seconds. Your security remains our top priority. Why? Oopsie. Okay, please, if the life ends, okay, let's go on. If the life ends, please, we'll continue again. Afresh. Okay, so I was saying that by the time you continuously pressure your child, or go and read every time, go and read, go and read, go and read, go and read, what happens? What your child begins to see book as punishment, as something not fun, that will actually impact their attitude. They begin to form negative attitude. Is it 15 minutes or 15 seconds? So it's still on. So that begin to impact their attitude towards studies, and it will make them struggle. Now, this is why in our challenge, we are going to talk about structure. There's time and place for everything. We're going to talk about structure. So if you are not in the academy, please, what you want to do is to register for this course. It is super important, and it is going to be very helpful for you and your child during this time. We are going to have one activity every day that you put on ground, you set up, that will help your child a great deal. And apart from that, you can also join us for next year, the Visionary Parents Academy. When you join us for next year, every of our master classes, every of our daily activities, they will be free of charge. You do not have to pay any other extra for it, except of course we have a different course that is away from the academy. But all these things are part of the academy. People in the academy are getting these things for free. Last month was on our children, helping them nurture, understand who they are. It was 1 month long activity, one activity every day to nurture a healthy self-identity in our children. And the other month, we're looking at sex education, sex empowering our children to make them body smart, sex smart, to make them make empowering decisions when it comes to sex education. And that last month, the other month, we actually had different, what is it called? We actually had, our challenge was into two. We had the ones from 13 years to 17 years, and we had the one for 4 years, 0 years to, I think, was it 2 or 3? We had them different because sex education is different classes. We had them in different categories. So if you are not in the Visionary Parent Academy, I tell you, you are missing a great deal. You want to join us for next year, naira, and this covers you for the entire year. That's about 5,000 naira charges. Nothing. Okay, so let's go. So I've given you 3 already. I've talked about if you push harder. I've talked about when your child struggles, they are lazy. I've talked about if they don't read textbooks. I've talked about they have to read every single minute of the day. Now the next one is if your child is learning, they are not silent. They are not learning quietly. They are not quiet. They are not learning. Maybe you hear you call, the music is playing. You feel they are not learning. How can you be learning when the music is playing? Or you come in, even teachers do this in school. You see a child tapping the table or tapping something. You feel, oh, the child is not learning because they are maybe moving their legs or they are tapping. Really? For some children, body movements, a lot of things help them to take in what they are learning, help them to create something like association, also helps them to remove that. Some children are daydreamers. If you have taught in school, you see that you have some children who daydream. They are looking at you like this, quiet, they are silent, they are looking at you, and their mind is not where you are. They are looking at you, but they are away, they are miles away from you, but they are looking at you, So when you see children who are not, you just feel they are not learning. Keep quiet We had the parenting and all of that. You don't have to write. The kids school is a and the hall has platform where you stand there and everybody was there. We had an extension upstairs. You could go upstairs, and this was me wondering, excuse you, how can my writing down here be disturbing you up there? So, and for me, genuinely, if you are teaching and I'm not writing, it simply means that I am not learning. You are not impressing me. I'm not feeling you, or I'm not learning. Because if I'm learning, I must write. I must write. So if you see me listening to someone and I am writing, that is how I learn. I'm a reader, write, learner. I may write. And I may not go back to read it. That's the funny thing of writing it down helps me learn faster. So for some parents to feel, oh, if your child is not sitting quietly, they are not learning. So you want to force them to sit quietly when they want to learn. And at the end of the day, when the child tries to sit quietly, or the child then goes with the mindset that, okay, I need to always be still to learn, that will not come in the way of their actual learning capacity and ability. For them to actually be able to learn, that will come in the way. And what happens at the end of the day? They now struggle to retain, struggle to understand, because they are not flowing with it. Number 6 is homework is the teacher's responsibility, not mine. This is, one of the things we don't realize is that there is something called consistency in parenting. We all know that. So one of the things we don't realize is how to actually be consistent, how to use consistency in our parenting. It simply means that when you have a skill to teach, every single opening at all that will help you teach that skill, don't ignore, take advantage of it. I've heard parents say something like, oh, if the teacher gives my child homework and it's too difficult, I'll pack it back and give it to the child to take back to school, because they just believe homework is the teacher's. Now, let me even tell you something. I believe that, teachers alone, if you have a struggling child, there is little a teacher can do if you have a struggling child. This is the truth. I know some teachers will say, oh, that's not true, but it is true. If you have a struggling child, there's a little your teacher can do. One, a typical class has up to 10-15 students in a class, right? Good. That same teacher is being pressured by the HM to deliver. They have lesson notes to copy. They have lesson plans or so many things. They have how many subjects they have to do a day. They give classwork, they give homework, and they mark attendance. They do a lot of things. They minutes on communication books. You see what the teacher has to do every single day. The minutes of communication book. Now then they still have to teach. They still have how many people to teach in class. Then you not think that, okay, your child is struggling. Your teacher will not be able to leave other children and attend to your child. It's not realistic now. It's not realistic. Think about it. It's not realistic. So most of the time, what happens is teachers glory on children who excel academically, who are naturally academically gifted. Teachers, they glory, they ride on the wings, on the glory of children who are naturally gifted academically. I remember one time in my children's school, they were doing I think it was they had an event. So children were practicing for the event. There was a particular boy who was interested in cultural dance, and he was practicing. So on the day of the cultural dance, he was dropped. He wasn't allowed to practice. So during the PTA, the parents came to school and was complaining, oh, why was my son not allowed to dance and all of that? And the proprietress told her, she told her that yes, all the children were practicing, but we had to use the children who were good at it already. So we don't have the time to be teaching your child to be good at it. Now that was your duty to have done at home. Since your child was practicing in school, your child was interested, and you were interested for your child. So what you would have done is at home, do your work at home, so that by the time the child gets back to school, the child is better and the child fits better. We also saw a video recently of a woman who was talking about how she failed her son, she failed as a mom. What happened was the children were giving something to practice for, I think, end of year party or end of school, end of session activity. The child brought it, and she didn't really bother much about it until she realized the child was dropped from the presentation. When she asked, she was told that the child was not good, and the child was asked to practice. The child did not practice, which means she was supposed to teach the child at home. She did not teach the child at home. So whether we like it or not, whether we want to accept it or not, the school cannot help your struggling child. The school, except you have a one-on-one agreement with the school or the teacher, where they will have to, it simply means that if you have an agreement with the teacher, so where they will have to create special time for your child, other children will suffer. And they are humans too. They have a lot of things bothering them. Oh, the woman is bothered. Oh, my husband has a side chick. She's bothered. Oh, my children, they have headache. I need to buy paracetamol for them. Oh, I was coming to school today. I had 2,000 naira for transport. I was coming alone cost me 1,500, which is usually not so. How do I get 500 naira to add to my 1,000 naira back? How do I get extra money to add to my money back home? They are thinking, oh, my food I brought to school is cold. I'm super hungry. They have their own life. They have a lot of things they bother. How many children do they have in class? So how will they not sit down and say, oh, you are the one, it's your child? And no, it is not realistic. So if your child is struggling as a parent, you must do your work. You must do your work. If you cannot help your child at home, then what do? Hire a private tutor to do it. If your child is struggling, I hear parents brag that, oh, I don't give my child private tutor. It shows I don't trust them. It gives them it helps them, it builds lack of self-confidence. I'm like, are you kidding me? Now, this is why in the Visionary Parent Academy, I tell parents, you need to learn things for yourself. You need to sit and think for yourself. Because if you don't learn for yourself, if you don't do things for yourself, you may just end up just following, doing things randomly, taking every advice you see on social media. Your child is struggling and you say, I don't want to. So teachers, it is just a fact. They have a lot they can do, so they will not have time. Even though when they tell you they'll pay attention to your child, you need to do your work at home. So homework is for teacher. No. Homework is for you to sit down. They'll say, if it's difficult, I'll pack it and go and give the child. And give back to the teacher. I tell you that teachers don't give homework. They have not taught. They don't give homework. I remember back then in Lagos, I had a particular struggle with my son. So I went to the school. I minuted on the homework that was what I used to do. I will not do homework for my children. Nah, my kids are growing now. They are so independent to do their homework on their own. They don't need me. They don't even need me to supervise them. Even when they were much younger, I never did homework for my kids. What do I sit down and they are doing the homework? If it's going to take us how many hours, we'll sit down and do it. If it's getting too long, we pack it up. I minute on the material for the teacher to see why the homework was not done, why it was half done, and things like that. So I remember one time my son couldn't do the homework. He was struggling. I minuted. I say, dear, I don't remember, dear Mrs. Adebiyi, Noel struggled through this homework. So please, he doesn't understand it yet. And the next day she said to me, sorry ma, we just introduced the topic today. I wish I still have their books, their communication books. I could share some things. How I used to communicate back. So why would my child bring homework? I'll pack it and go and give back the teacher. Homework time is supposed to be an opportunity for your parents to teach your child a lot of skills, patience, tolerance, for you to break it down to your child. Teach your child even how to teach others, for you to teach your child how to be super patient, for you to understand your child. Your child doesn't understand it, you understand. Okay, why don't you understand it yet? Why are you struggling with this so much? Homework time for you to teach your child a lot of things your child needs to know to grow and all of that. But very many parents, homework time, you see them. Parents are quick to come online and start talking about teachers. I'm like, seriously? It's a partnership thing. So if your teacher gives your child a homework, it is for you to sit with your child. You are not doing it for your child though. If your child is a toddler, maybe grade 2 down, sit with them. Some children, it even helps you understand your child. Some children, they just hurry through homework. By the time you take the homework, you say, why are you hurrying through this homework? You need to go back and do this thing, okay? Go and see what you did right, see what you did not do right, and you go back. You check them. It helps you realize, okay, my child is not very attentive to details. Maybe that's why my child is struggling in school. It helps to begin to teach them how to be attentive to details, why it's important and all of that. Thank you so much. She said, hi, ma. Thank you for joining. You want to watch the beginning of this video again? When we finish, you go back and watch the beginning because we have shared a lot of important information already. Thank you. Okay, so we've talked about the school, the homework is the teacher's responsibility. Now, I've explained that in details already. The school is responsible for my child's success, not me. Who? This one is, we hear parents come on social media and say something like, why will the school is giving their child assignments or projects and they want, what am I paying school fees for? Yes. Something like, what am I paying school fees for? How can I be paying school fees and still be doing this? When you have them, it is partnership. Like I've explained a while ago that teachers cannot do it all. They cannot do it all. If your child is struggling, and if you have a child who is struggling, let me tell you how it works. There is a story I like to paint when I'm teaching children about children who are struggling in school. I tell them that this is how every human being was created. Like, we all, okay, that was network. So I say to them that we all have the ability. We all can do whatever we set our mind to. However, we don't have the same capacity. Like that, we don't have the same capacity. That is how much we can do at once. How much we can carry at a time is not the same. So I'll tell them, let's say you have a 20-liter gallon somewhere in front of you there. You have 5 of you here. Now you are asked to go and fill it. Everybody can fill that 20 liters. Some people will be given 10 liters, or some people will even have another 20-liter gallon to go and fill it. How many times will they go? Once. Another person that has 10 liters, how many times will that person go? Twice. Another person will have something like 5 liters, that person will go 4 times. Another person will have 4 liters, will go 5 times. And say the last person has 2 liters, that person will go 10 times. Will they all be able to fill that gallon? Yes. All 5 of them will be able to fill the gallon because they have the ability, they are able to fill it. However, the difference will not be how many times they went to fill it. The number of times they will go will depend on the capacity of the smaller gallon or the gallon they have to go and fill it. I tell them the same thing happens to you when you are learning. There are people who have the capacity to actually, they are just speaking and you are just talking and they are learning. Just say it once and they grab it and they go. Others, they may have to push themselves, just learn once, learn twice. Others, they will have to push themselves once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Others, so we all have different capacities, but do we have the ability? Absolutely. So now bring it to reality. That child that has once, that can just go once and come back, the child has not learned to put in the effort. They have not learned to put effort. It's just that tiny effort they put. Then the child who is going 10 times, what is that child learning? Perseverance, self-discipline, patience, and everything. At the end of the day, if these 2 children, they are launched fully into the main society at the end of the day, you realize that child who went 10 times, if that child was not labeled, if that child's self-esteem was not crushed, if that child's self-confidence was not destroyed, that child is likely going to succeed way more than the child who went once, giving the same opportunity. So how does that relate to thinking your child will succeed in school alone will make your child succeed? Now, here's the thing. As a parent, if child is struggling, it simply means that learning once in school will not help your child learn. Learning just once in school will not help your child learn. So what are you going to do? So if you have a struggling child, it simply means that you have to put in the extra work. So if they learn in school, then they have to come back home and learn again, and you have to create a system that helps them learn repeatedly, because remember, they have to go 10 times. So by the time they go 10 times, they become at par with the child who only went once. At par with the child who only went once. But now, if you do not put in the work, you expect the child who has that 2-liter gallon capacity to match the one who has 10 liters gallon capacity. You are going to break the child, because the child is going to struggle, and struggle. I don't know if you got that analogy. If you got it, if it made sense to you, please leave in the comment section that you got it, it made sense to you. If you're in the Visionary Parent Academy, you did not get it, it's okay. Just type in just go to the WhatsApp group class and type in, I like more explanation, and I will break it down to you. I can even create something around it for us to go through, as we always do. So thinking the school is responsible for your child's success. Now, I know you are paying school fees, but you have a lot to do, especially if you have a struggling child. If you have a struggling child, I tell you have a lot to do. You need to put in the work. Okay. Discipline means fear, and fear brings results. We do this a lot as parents. First of all, when a child is struggling, we label the child lazy. So we just conclude that the child is misbehaving. See that my cock that is always cuckooing. Imagine if I was just telling people that I am actually doing this life from from Maso Rock now. That's how this cock would just be embarrassing me. I think it's high time I use it for a sumptuous pot of stew. Okay. That said, discipline means fear, and fear brings results, because we already see a child struggling in school, a child not doing well in school. Like we've talked about when children are reading, we've talked about some of the things they do. We just conclude that the child is misbehaving. And of course, we've been programmed that when the child is misbehaving, we have to discipline. And discipline is always like fear, threats, beating, just putting fear in the child's mind. It happens a great deal. So at the end of the day, when a child is not settled, a child is afraid, emotions are everywhere. How does the child learn? How? Like the parent I shared at the beginning of this class, whose children were actually tired. She didn't realize it. Instead, prior to joining the academy, she would force them to learn. Force them, do all sorts of manners, force them. And maybe when learning, they will now start dozing off. They are pretending because they don't want to learn. They are lazy. They will hit and all of that. And at the end of the day, how will that child learn that particular thing? And you know what happens most times? For parents, when you are teaching your toddlers and you are hitting them, you are yelling at them, what happens most of the time is their brains are scattered, so they start guessing. So maybe when they just get society that enters their head, you think, hey, do you not know it now? Do you not know it now? Lazy thing. You just conclude that it was because you beat them or you yelled at them that made them get it. Okay, so let's go. We are talking about another one is technology distracts. It cannot be used for learning. I see parents say a lot, I will not give my child phone until my child is 18. I will not give my child phone until my child is 17. I remember asking a parent, I will not give my child a smartphone, an Android phone until my child is 18. I remember asking a parent, I said, you will not give if age is the reason you give your child a smartphone, why does your grandmother or your grandmother in the village, why does she not use an Android phone? Why does she use a Nokia 3310 phone? Phones, no, I'm not saying give your child phone. I always say that if children do not have a reason for phone, don't give them. My children don't have phones. No, we have an extra phone that they use their online classes, they use for homework and all of that. That is the phone they have. And they have that phone because there's a need for it. They have courses they do online and they cannot use my phone, it will come in the way. So they have programs they are trying their hands on, they are using it. They cannot use my phone. That is why they have a phone. So we can also use phones to help our children. When my kids were much younger, I hear parents talk about, coaches talk about no television in my child's room, no television in my child's room. I get it. However, I always want to let parents know that, see, it is not the same for every child. Is not the same. Your vision. Okay, we are back. I didn't even know. I was actually going to, oh gosh, I don't know if this is okay now. I was actually going to, okay, so we are back. I was getting an alternative. Okay, so what was the last point I was making? If you remember the last point I was making, please put in the comment section and I will gladly go back to it and finish it. Okay, let's go. Okay, I was talking about technology distracts and I talked about how we can use technology. So I was talking about my kids then, they had a TV in their room. However, the TV was purely educational purpose. Okay, I think we are back. So we had the Leapfrog series. It's an amazing series for children. I think we had Dr. Rock. Is it Rock and Roll? A lot of them. That was it. I just wanted to have basic foundation of certain things. So if you have a child, for example, who is struggling academically, and you know that the child is a visual learner, all right, the child, what can you do? You can have if you have a gadget, television or something for them, you can just get those series. They still have it now. You still have Leapfrog. You don't even need to be internet. You don't even need to get a smart TV. You don't even need to connect it to anything. You just get those DVDs they have, or something that you can use flash drive. Just put them there, download them, put them there, and your child will always see them. They see them and they learn. It is intentional. It is used for that. So that said about gadget. And there was one time I was even looking for a tablet that can just be for books only. So there are no games, nothing. So instead of buying hardcover books that is very expensive, we can just get the ebooks and have all of them downloaded into it and have my kids read it. But I've not seen that kind of tablet. So technology distract, it cannot be used for learning. Now I also remember when my pastor Samadeyemi, was talking about the son. He said he knew that his son used to like to read a lot. One time he realized that his son was always in his system every day in system. One day he was not telling the boy, you no longer read, what is the matter? And the boy now said, but he's reading now. The boy now showed him his desktop. And funny enough, that day the boy was reading a particular book on his desktop, but he did not know. He just assumed that the boy was always playing on his desktop and was not reading and things like that. Okay, so technology, we can actually use technology to help our children, help struggling learners. You just make sure it's focused, make sure it's intentional, it's not random. So if you know you cannot manage it, don't. I have a friend who is a counselor and she's had very many cases. There was one particular one and the mom had the 14-year-old doing porn. How did he get it? Because he had a laptop. That's what he was using to do porn. So even when the mom caught him, they talked about it. He still went and he was still doing it, watching it all the time. So if you know you cannot manage it, if you know, no, you cannot, don't even do it. So don't even do it. Okay, the next one is children play. Children who play too much cannot do well in school. This this one, hear children playing, go and read, play. That's why you don't know anything. That is why you are coming last in class. Play. Nah. I tell my children that, see, the work of boys is to play. Boys, their second work is to play. So when my daughter is telling my children, my sons, don't people get tired, you playing since, I'll say that's their work. Play doesn't come in the way of their studies. In fact, they can even learn through playing. Movie Akila and Dibi, remember when the man was teaching her and all of that, they infused skipping rope into it, one of the ways she learned. And then look at when she was going out asking her friends, random learning, not just sitting in one place like we expect our children to do. Sit in one place, lock the room, everywhere quiet, if possible self lights off, they're reading there. Nah, we are back. Network is networking. Okay, so we just keep um we don't keep experiencing network glitch. I hope you have learned. I think I've shared about 12 so far. I have 12 so far I have shared, and we actually have 20. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop this in the Visionary Parent Academy. I will continue the conversation there. I've shared 12 so far, and if you have followed me or you are just joining, you want to go back to the beginning of the class and listen to everything and check them out. If there is any one that you are guilty of and you genuinely want your child to succeed, it simply means that you are going to unlearn them. The truth of the matter is, it may not have just the mindset did not just come from one day to another in you. It may have been long. What you learned, like I said at the beginning, the atmosphere around you when you were being raised, when you were even being assessed academically in those days, they planted a lot of things in you, and those things, they are counterproductive. They are counterproductive. So you cannot afford to actually raise your children with that mindset. So what you want to do, you want to begin to unlearn them. You want to look at yourself. One of the things I said to the parents in the Visionary Parent Academy this morning, I asked them is, what does success mean to you as a child? What does success of your child means to you? You need to start from there. And one thing you should know is that schooling, academic, is primarily for economic purpose, so that our children can stand out, so that they'll get good jobs, they'll get good opportunities. That is primarily it. That is the origin of it. So that they'll get good opportunities. No, that is it. Okay, having good opportunities is not just about, certificate now anymore. We know that it has long moved away from certificate. Confidence is a major part of it. Confidence is a major part of it. Now, this brings me to the next point. I want the 13th one I want to tell you. Very many parents believe that, if your child is not in a certain class at a certain age, the child is struggling. That is why the first thing you hear parents ask, what class is he? How old is he? You hear someone say, my child is 12 in JSS1. It's as if it's a taboo. How can a JSS1? I'm sorry about network. So parents are pushing their children because they want their children to look smart before others. Here is something I say to parents. If you have a child who is struggling, let's say because your child, everyone else is in JSS1 at 10 years, you take your child who is struggling to JSS1 at 10 years. Let me tell you what happens. Like I was telling you that teachers cannot do it alone. Guess what happens? Teachers, they get pressured by struggling children. They get pressured. You see them complaining, you see them whining, you see them labeling. And guess what? Their classmates also will learn from teachers. They will label, they will treat those struggling children anyhow. They call them names. Growing up, we used to call them names. I remember if someone stands up and answers the wrong question, we'll start laughing. I don't forget a particular boy that's supposed to be one of my cousins, maybe those 10th, 4th, 5th, 100th cousin, we were reading about Oliver Twist one time in school. I would say it was just a 2 or so, and he was asked a question and he answered Oliver quickly. See, today I don't forget. I remember how we laughed that day. Everybody was laughing because he said Oliver quickly instead of him to say Oliver Twist. He said Oliver quickly. So when your child is struggling in school, one of the things that happens is that, teachers will pick on them, their classmates will pick on them, and it will make them misbehave all the time. And the more the teacher picks on them, the more the classmate picks on them, the more the child is misbehaving now. If the child is strong-willed, is stubborn, is tough, they also want to then bully others. They want to show or bully. If the child is the one that is calm, they want to start sucking, they want to take it all in, and it affects their self-esteem. If you've read Gifted Hands, that is why this month what we are reading is Gifted Hands. If you've read Gifted Hands by Ben Carson, you will see how his academic struggle, how it affected him a great deal. When he was struggling. At some point he was just nonchalant. He was like, I don't care. He cared. But because of everything that was happening. So that is what happens to your child. When your child is struggling in class, and guess what? All that thing happen. Everything that happens around him, they now build him to lack self-confidence. he feels, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I don't know, I cannot know, I am not good enough. Remember, I was talking about academic being an economic tool. So now, when they now graduate, they are now in the public space, they are now on their own, they are supposed to now empower themselves academically. They are not able to thrive. They literally start surviving because of low self-confidence, because of low self-esteem. Where did it start from? It started from you as a parent pushing them. You may not realize it, because they were not up to that, because they were struggling, because in your mind, if the child is he has to be 10 years in a particular class. I said to parents, no, let your child dictate, let them tell you where they want to be. By that I mean their performance, not they will come and use their mouth to tell you, mommy, I want to be in JS3. No, you see your child struggling, I beg. Some children, they need to be mature. Remember, I talked about repetition. Some children, they need to learn over and over again, and I'm going to explain this in details in the class during the challenge. Some children need to learn over and over and over again before they will get it. Some children, they're not automatic learner. That is someone like me. I'm not an automatic learner. You can teach me, and okay, if I have the foundation, I can grab it. If it clicks, I can grab it. But sometimes I learn, it doesn't really click. So I just go back, and from nowhere, I just replay whatever I learned, and it makes sense. I'm able to connect it. Some people are like that. So you don't have to push them, pressure them. When you, instead of them to now be pushing them, it's supposed to be, okay, something for them to let me compete. Let me do my previous. I'm in a class now. Some children, to break them down. I saw a post recently on Facebook. The child had a very, very poor grade, very poor. And the teacher was asking, should this child be promoted? And everybody was saying, be promoted. JSS2, let her be promoted. Get her a private teacher, let her be promoted. I still want to make a video. Be promoted to what? For what? Why? Should a child with that kind of a grade be promoted? Where is the child going to? A child is clearly struggling. Maybe the child has foundational. There are issues from the start. The child is clearly struggling. Instead of you to let the child repeat that class and find a way to help the child, everybody is saying promote the child. Promote the child to where? Simply because the child needs to be 10 years in JSS2. And so she gets a medal for it. I've never seen where they say, oh, the youngest person in the class award or the oldest person in the class award. I've never seen. Promoted to where? Okay, so I've talked about that, and grades are more important than character. Now, this is also very important. It's something we do as parents. We don't know that indirectly sabotages our children's academic performance. You see parents going to school to fight teachers. You talk to my child anyhow. I didn't ask you to train my child. I asked you to teach my child. If you were training your child well at home, would the teacher be training your child again at school? I didn't ask you to train my child. I asked you to teach my child. You don't know that there are some children. There are some children. Some of the reasons children struggle in school include motivation, lack of motivation. And character builds motivation, self-discipline, self-ownership. These are ways you can nurture motivation, self-motivation in your child. A child who doesn't realize their life belongs to them, a child who doesn't realize that their academics is actually for their good, they may be less motivated. So when you want your child to excel in school, just don't focus on grades. Be big when it comes to character. Be big when it comes to character. Instill character at home in your child so that they can be motivated to put in their best. And in putting in their best, they will excel. They will struggle less in school. Okay, I think I've shared a lot that I am. If my child isn't first, they are failing. I've talked about this already. If my child isn't first in class, they are failing. They must be first. That's how we nurture unhealthy mindset in our children. My children must excel in all subjects equally. So when they have math, good grades in math, and other ones they have red ink, we are all angry. We are mad. The child is wondering, this one, We don't even realize that, okay, those ones, they may actually have a reason. They may be struggling. They may be their weak points. Let's find a way to help them. We don't do that. We are struggling. Academic success is the only success. Okay, if my child fails, this is the one I'm looking for. This is the one I have been looking for. That's why I wanted to stop at 15 or so, but I wanted to talk about this one. Okay, if my child, where is it again? If my child fails, it means they are not good at a particular subject. Parents, we have this thing a great deal. If your child fails at a particular subject, it means they are not good. If your child doesn't get fails at a particular subject, it simply means that they are struggling. No. A lot of reasons are responsible for why your child may fail at a particular subject. So many reasons responsible. It doesn't mean they are not good enough. Like I said a while ago, children, we have ability. We may have the same ability, but we don't have the same capacity. Children can learn, but we cannot learn equally. Some children, they need more time. So if your child fails, it simply means that they have not learned. So that is a way for you to say, okay, let me sit back and assess the situation. How many more times do I need to teach him? What other things do I use to? My daughter was reading a book this morning, and he was telling me, Mommy, this book is saying that repetition is the key to retention. I thought, okay, that's fine. That's true. Repetition is indeed the key to retention. Yes. However, some people, they retain with one or two times. You repeat it 2 times or 3 times, they retain it. For some people, you have to retain it several times before they retain it. So as a parent, you need to know where your child fits in, the category your child is. That way you are better able to help your child. You are better able to help your child. Now, this class was brought to you by the Visionary Parent Academy. We are open for 2026 registration. You need to join us. This challenge is ongoing. We are going to have 4 master classes here, one every Tuesday, 12 noon. And then we have go on in the class, in the academy, one activity every day, practical activity that will help us actually meet our children's learning needs. So if you have a struggling child, I tell you that if you are taking a challenge, as long as you take action, you do what you are asked to do, you are going to get results. Your child is definitely going to get better. So that is why we are doing this result now. We are doing this challenge now that the school is just starting. So by the time the school starts fully, in a week's time or in 2 weeks' time, you would have been into it and would have started with the more practical aspect of it, talking about the hands-on, how we can put our hands practically to help our children. So at the end of this term, we are going to see results, better results in our children. And if as a parent, you are consistent, you go on with it, you carry it on, your child's grade is going to definitely be better. It's not just about their results, everything about them. You are going to see results in your children. You are going to see results, all round results in your children. So if you want the challenge, if you want to join us, it's not too late. You can still quickly join us today. The fee is just 15,000 naira. But if you want to join the entire Visionary Parent Academy, which I greatly recommend, then you know that you are paying just 60,000 naira for an entire year, the whole year of 2026. From January to December, you are paying 60,000 naira only. You can pay it once, or you can start paying it in installment now. Pay whatever you have. By December, you finish your payment, and in January, when we open, you join us. The Visionary Parent Academy is a very empowering academy. We meet every single day. We have conversations, we answer your questions, we provide solutions to your struggles. We have a lot going on in the Visionary Parent Academy. We have conversations, we have a lot going on. So it's an academy that will empower you. We have tools, we have resources, we have everything we use just to make sure that you parent with confidence, just to make sure that you get results you want in your parenting. We start by creating our vision. It is why the very first thing we do is create our vision. We know exactly where we are going to. After that, we put a structure in place, and then we begin to follow up every day. We look at every aspect of our parenting and we follow it up. So what you want to do is to join us. Again, it's a very empowering academy. You need to join us. When you join us, then you see what we do. I don't think I have I'm not a very fantastic marketer, so I'm not able to sell it to you as it's supposed to be. So when you join us, if you want to just say, okay, what do they even do? Let me see. The talk is too much, the noise is too much. Here is what you want to do. Just take our 1 month course, this Growing Your Child Brilliance Challenge. Join it, and you will see what we do every single day. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Remember, you can still join the Visionary Parent Academy, and you can also join this challenge for this month. Thank you for joining me today. If you're a Visionary Parent Academy member, thank you. And you are going to get this template I'm using here right now. You are going to get it in the group so that we can continue the conversation there. And of course, it's every day you show up, you learn, you take action. What is more important is you taking action. Is action that guarantees results. Like I always say to you, no action, no results. So if you genuinely want results, you need to take action. Thank you once again for joining me today. See you next week, Tuesday. Or better still, see you on Thursday at 8 p.m. when we start our Dear Enemy series. And of course on Saturday for the method thing for your teenagers, 8 p.m. too. You want to gather your teenagers around on Saturday so that we can start the method thing series. Thank you so much. See you on Thursday, 8 p.m. Bye-bye. And don't forget to share. If you are not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share and invite other parents and tell them that something powerful is going on here. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.